I was recently hired to record electric guitar with a singer-songwriter. Heading to this session got me thinking back on previous recordings I've been a part of, and to see just how far I've come. Looking back on my earliest recording sessions, I was pretty naive. But I'm here today to share some of what I've learned over the years in the recording studio and to help you prepare for your own recording session. The very first recording device I ever had was a Tascam 4-track cassette recorder, and I can still remember how much fun it was to figure it out with my first GarageBand. So now, 20 years later, I'm lucky enough to get hired to do this professionally. Needless to say, a lot has changed in 20 years, but since we're talking about this recording session today, I'm going to talk about all that goes into this type of recording session as a sideman for a singer-songwriter. So the objective here is I'll cover you in my dreams. So this is a cover album of some of Greg's favorite songs that we're going to put our own spin on by probably making more dreamy than the originals were. So when I look at a list like this, I try to do things like generally organize the similarities between the artists. We have a couple of songs by J.J. Cale here. Greg is a big J.J. Cale fan. So that sort of understanding of what Greg really wants from the project, just simply by who the artists he really likes are, is a huge part of getting closer to the sound we want at the end, right off the bat. My main job is to support the artist. In this case, Greg had a really specific vision for the record. He wanted to make it very dreamy. So that to me means ambience, soundscapes, certain pedals I might use. So we're going to approach this by recording our initial rhythm parts first, and then I'll get into some of that other stuff later with some other parts, between overdubbed slide guitar, overdubbed lead guitar, and general ambience. That's how I was going to approach this. Looking at the set list, I'm definitely a happy camper because I love this sort of style, and I'm excited to dig into really listening to the songs and learning them. My personal favorite thing to do is make handwritten chord charts using the Nashville number system. Whenever I handwrite something out, I'm sure to actually remember it. It's one thing to just have a chord chart, but if you took the time to actually make it, you're probably not going to even need to look at the chart because the act of making it in the first place is going to put it in your head well enough that you probably don't need to actually have it after you make it. On the sort of far out dreamy side of things, I feel like if I grab my two hologram electronics pedals, the chroma console and the microcosm, that's going to do just about all of the heavy lifting that I need to get that sort of dream world sound together. Between that and my two Strymon pedals, I have the Flint and the El Capistan. I think that's going to take care of most of my sort of reverb and ambience and delays. And then I'm going to grab my Bloomfield Drive 2-rock amp, and that's going to cover it as far as most of my gear is concerned. I want to make sure to do the songs justice on two fronts. Play them great, and make sure that we make them our own unique versions. I'm all for playing cover tunes. I think that music is music, and that there are a ton of great things about playing other people's music. But the fun part is playing your own version of a song that you already love. This is where the prep ahead of time really helped. It didn't take very long to feel comfortable playing these songs with Greg, which helps us really be able to ultimately make the wilder, more imaginative musical passages happen. And ultimately, that's a big part of this original sound of the two of us playing together. I was lucky enough to work with some really great people on this session, but in general, no matter who you're working with, just being the best teammate you can be at all times. Forget about what other projects you've been on or who else you've played with. Just help this session succeed. It's going to make life better for everyone. You'll be more hireable for it. Everyone will want to be working with you. I always make sure that my space feels really comfortable when I'm recording. This mainly just means that I'm clear to move around without feeling uncomfortable, and that if I'm wearing a pair of headphones, that I have a really good headphone mix so I can hear everything that I need to and that it's not too loud. So you can see that by the end of this video, Greg and I are playing the music in the studio with the red light on. We really knew what we were doing by that time. This is definitely because of all the prep that we put in, both individually and together. And when you're listening back to the music that you recorded, when you're recording it in that moment, and when someone like Greg is thinking about hiring someone for a session later, all of these things make Greg want to hire you again. So prep, make sure that you show up with all of your stuff working, new strings, you're in tune. Make sure that you dot all of your I's and cross your T's. That sort of thing, that level of detail is what goes into making this record sound really great. I hope this video helps you get ready for your recording session. And hey, if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel below. We're putting videos like this out all the time. I'll catch you in the next video.